Welcome back. So in this very video, we will be covering the next 5 questions of second chapter of 11th class NCERT back exercise chemistry. That is question number 31 to question number 35. In the previous videos, we have covered up to question number 30. So now let us move into question number 31 and let's see what is the statement for that question and let's solve it. So the statement for question number 31 is, how many electrons in an atom may have the following quantum numbers? How many electrons in an atom may have the following quantum numbers? So it is having two parts. The question is having two parts. Part A is n equal to 4. That is, we have been given that we need to consider the fourth principal quantum number or the fourth shell. Okay. So ms is equal to minus half. We need to tell how many electrons can have these two particular values of quantum numbers. Okay. Now in fourth shell, that is, if the principal quantum number is 4, there can be how many types of orbits are there? There is 4s orbital, then 4p orbital is there, then 4d orbitals, and then 4f orbitals. Now in 4s orbital, how many electrons are possible? 2 electrons. In 4p, 6, in 4d, 10, and in 4f, 14 electrons are possible. Now, if you total it, it will come out to be equal to 32. Okay, one is this way of calculating how many electrons are possible. Now, you can use the direct formula. It is 2 into n square. If you need to calculate what will be the number of total electrons in a particular principal quantum number, you just can use this formula directly. Well, n is the principal quantum number. 2 multiplied by 4 square, it will be equal to 2 into 16 equal to 32. All right. Now we know that when we are considering 2 electrons in the same orbital, they can have only plus half and minus half spin. 2 electrons cannot have same spin if they are in the same orbital. Okay. So 32 total electrons are possible. Half will be having spin plus half and half will be having the spin minus half. So the number of electrons with this quantum number, it will be 16 in this very case. All right. Now let us now move into question number, the B part of this very question, that is, we have been given that n is equal to 3, that is third principal quantum number is there or the third shell is there, and L is equal to 0. So when L is 0, which orbital we are talking about? S orbital. So in 3s orbital, we need to tell how many electrons are possible. So there will be 2 possible electrons. Okay, so in this part, there is no question for the spin quantum number. Okay, now let us move into question number 32. Now question number 32 states that show that the circumference of the Bohr orbit for the hydrogen atom is an integral multiple of the de Broglie wavelength associated with the electron revolving around the orbit. Show that the circumference of the Bohr orbit for hydrogen atom. Circumference is given as 2 pi r. Now the orbit which was given by Bohr, it was a circular path. So the circumference is equal to 2 pi r. So we need to show that the circumference of Bohr orbit is equal to integral multiple of the wavelength, which is wavelength of the wave which is associated with the electron. So that is n lambda. So we need to show that. Okay. Now if we consider the postulates of Bohr model of an atom, for the angular momentum postulate, where we are talking about the quantization of angular momentum, there we did mvr equal to nh upon 2 pi. mvr equal to nh upon 2 pi. Okay. Now according to de Broglie, now we have been told that we need to compare the de Broglie wavelength. So de Broglie wavelength is given as lambda equal to h upon mv. H upon mv. So we just need to rearrange this very equation. So it will be equal to. So if I write nh upon mv, here it will be 2 pi r. So 2 pi r is equal to nh upon mv, or I can say 2 pi r is equal to n lambda. N lambda. So because this is h upon mv is equal to the de Broglie wavelength, that is lambda. All right, so hope this is clear to you. So from this we have proved that the Bohr radius of the orbit is equal to the integral multiple of the de Broglie wavelength that is associated with the moving electron. Okay, so let us now move into question number 33. So the question number 33 is, what transition in the hydrogen spectrum would have the same wavelength as the Balmer transition n equal to 4 to n equal to 2 of He positive spectrum? Okay. Now we have been given that we have He positive, helium positive ion. Now this is hydrogen like. Now what is the meaning of hydrogen like ions? Hydrogen like ions means they have only one electron, just like hydrogen atom. Okay, so Rydberg formula. Rydberg formula, it is applicable to hydrogen and hydrogen like ions. So it is Rydberg, according to Rydberg formula, 1 upon lambda is equal to R Z square. Now, when we are talking about hydrogen like, then we need to consider the atomic number. So Z is the atomic number of helium here, that will be equal to 2. So multiplied by 1 upon n square minus n1 square minus 1 upon n2 square. So here we have been given that n1 is equal to, n1 has been given to be equal to 2 and n2 has been given to be equal to 4. So 1 upon 2 square minus 1 upon 4 square. So it will be equal to 4R, 1 upon 4 minus 1 upon 16 equal to 4R into, it will become 64, 16 minus 4. It will be equal to 4R multiplied by 12 upon 64. It will come out to be equal to 116, 3 upon 4R. So this will come out to be equal to 3 upon 4R. Now we have been asked that we need to tell in the hydrogen spectrum which transition will have the same wavelength as that of this very transition. Okay, so we need to tell what will be the value for N1 and what will be the value for N2 in case of hydrogen atom if we want to get the same wavelength. Okay, so we can just write Rydberg formula for hydrogen atom, N1 square, 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square. Okay, now 1 upon lambda is equal to 1 upon lambda. Lambda is equal in both the cases. So this means I can just write here 3 upon 4R is equal to R into 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square. All right. Now we know that 1 upon N1 square minus 1 upon N2 square is equal to 3 upon 4. So how we can get this? To get this, if I say that N1 is equal to 1 and N2 is equal to 2, what will be the value here? And here it will be 1 upon 1 minus 1 upon 2 squared, that is 1 upon 4. So it will be equal to 3 upon 4, same value as that of this. Okay, so this means if we are having hydrogen atom, for that to get the same wavelength as that of this very transition in case of helium He positive ion, the N1 should be equal to 1, N2 should be equal to 2. That is the electron, it should jump from the second energy level into the first energy level. Okay, hope this is clear to you. Now let us move into the next question, that is question number 34. The question number 34 states that calculate the energy required for the process. We have been given this process. We have helium positive ion and it is getting converted into helium 2 positive ion after the liberation of one electron. Okay, the ionization energy for the hydrogen atom in ground state is ionization energy for H atom in ground state. it is equal to 2.18 into 10 raised to the power minus 18 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 18 joule per atom. Okay, we need to find out the energy required for this process. Now, first see this carefully, that this ion is He positive, that is, it is hydrogen-like. So if it is hydrogen-like, because it is having only one electron, so this formula will be applicable here also. Okay, so energy, if we want to write the energy of an electron in He positive ion, it will be, if it is in the nth energy level, En will be equal to minus 2.18 into 10 raised to the power minus 18 multiplied by Z square, because now we need to consider the atomic number, upon N square. All right, so this will be the energy for hydrogen like atom. If we are talking about Le2 lithium 2 positive, Li2 positive, again this will be the formula, their Z will be different. Okay, now we need to ionize it from the ground state, that is, the electron is in the n equal to 1 energy level, and we need to move it into n equal to infinite energy level, that is, we need to remove the electron from the atom. Okay, so delta E will be equal to E infinity minus E1. It will be equal to, just put the values here, 2.18 into 10 raised to the power minus 18 multiplied by 2 square, because Z for helium is 2, upon N square, that is infinity square, minus 2.18 into 10 raised to the power minus 18 multiplied by 2 square, upon, from which energy level it is going. We have not been told from which energy level. I think it is from the ground state. Okay, we will consider whether or not it is given. If it is not given, then we will be taking it as ground state. If it is given that we need to remove the electron from the second energy level or from the fifth energy level, then we will be taking that value of N. Okay, so here this value is going to be equal to 0. So this will be equal to minus 2.18 into 10 raised to the power minus 18 multiplied by 4 equal to 4 multiplied by 2.18 is equal to 8 point. This will be plus 8 point, because we need this energy, we need to supply this energy. Okay, when energy is needed to be supplied, it is taken as positive. If it is liberated, it is taken as negative. Okay, so this much joule per atom will be the ionization energy for He positive ion, when we need to remove the electron from the ground state, that is from first energy level. All right, now let us move into the next question, that is the last question of this very video. Question number 35. Question number 35 states that if the diameter of carbon atom is 0.15 nanometer, diameter of carbon atom, it is equal to 0.15 nanometer, or I can just write 0.15 multiplied by 10 raised to the power minus 9 meter. Okay. All right. Now calculate the number of carbon atoms which can be placed side by side in a straight line across length of scale of 20 centimeter long. Okay. So we have a scale. What is the length of this scale? 20 centimeter. We need to put the carbon atoms on this straight line side by side. So this is how we need to put the carbon atoms. Okay. We need to calculate how many carbon atoms we will be able to place like this on this very length. Diameter of the carbon atom has been given. Now, because this has been given in centimeter, let us first convert this also into centimeter. So diameter will be equal to, I just can write 0.15 into 10 raised to the power minus 9, meter, multiplied by, if I write 100 centimeter upon 1 meter, because 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeter, I'm just multiplying and dividing this with the same quantity. Okay. So meter will get cancelled. It will be equal to 0.15 multiplied by 10 raised to the power -7 centimeter. So this will be the diameter of carbon in centimeter. Now, if you clearly see, if you need to see what length of this scale one carbon atom is covering, it is equal to the diameter. From this figure, it is clear that it will be covering the length equal to its diameter. So this means if we need to say that one atom of carbon is there, it will be covering length equal to its diameter. We can find out in 20 centimeters how many carbon atoms will be placed. Okay, so number of carbon atoms placed in a length of 0.15 multiplied by 10 raised to the power -7 centimeter is equal to 1. Therefore, number of carbon atoms placed in a length of 20 centimeter will be equal to 1 upon 0.15 into 10 raised to the power -7 centimeter multiplied by 20 centimeter. It will be equal to 20 divided by 0.15 equal to 133.3 into 10 raised to the power 7 carbon atoms. So these many carbon atoms will be placed on 20 centimeter length. Okay, so we can place these many carbon atoms on a length of 20 centimeters. So this is all for this very video, and we will meet again in the next video with next 5 questions, that is question number 36 to question number 40. Okay, so just keep working, take lots of notes, and it will definitely help you out. All right, you will definitely get great results. So I will see you in the next video.